Apple announced the new Mac Mini. It's their week of announcements. Tomorrow they have another announcement. It's probably going to be MacBook Pros and maybe AirBook Pros, certainly. And yesterday it was iMacs and Apple Intelligence. So I've been waiting for the Mac Mini announcement because I've always been a big fan of the Mac Mini. And I was curious to see, is it going to be a worthwhile upgrade to the Mac Minis that we've had for, these many years? The M1 and M2 Mac Minis have been pound for pound, dollar for dollar, the best Macs that you can get. So my question has been, is the Mac Mini going to end up being something to consider? Is it going to maintain its spot in kind of like a prosumer land, or will it be something different? And today we got our answer, and it's caused me a problem, which I'm going to get to here in a minute. But first, let's talk about what the new Mac Mini is. Look how cute. We've got all kinds of things. Show me on my files from last week, and we can play some games. Carbon neutral, the first carbon neutral Mac ever, which, okay, that's cool. Tell me more. Take a closer look. Look how tiny it is. It's so tiny. It's got two Thunderbolt 5 ports on the front, or maybe they're just USB ports, USB 3.2. Not exactly sure. Maybe we'll find out as we scroll through but on the back here, these are Thunderbolt 5 ports. And we have HDMI 2.1, and we have Ethernet, and we have a little power plug. Don't hate the player, hate the game. All right, power button on the bottom. Whoa, okay. And this is how small it is. And so let's see. Looks small, lives large. 1/20th the size, yet up to 6 times faster. It's 5x5, and I think it's like 3 inches tall or something like that. Okay, so we've got 2 USB-C plugs on the front and headphone jack. It doesn't say if the headphone jack is like a super amplified headphone jack, but maybe they are. We've got HDMI, Ethernet, 3 times Thunderbolt 5. And so Thunderbolt 5, this kind of blew me away. Thunderbolt 5 is up to 120 gigabits per second. Now, Thunderbolt is 40. The regular Thunderbolt is 40, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think Thunderbolt 4 can do up to 80, but 40 is usually what you can get. So Thunderbolt 5 is up to 120. It's got a new cooling structure. I don't know if you've ever looked into the bottom of a Mac Mini, but the Mac Mini previously was just a lot of air and a motherboard. There wasn't really much to it, especially after they went to Apple Silicon. There's just a lot of space in there. So Apple made it smaller, 1/20th the size, apparently. So what does this do? Oh yeah, it's showing us our, okay. So now it's available in the M4 and M4 Pro. M4 is the same that we had in the iMacs yesterday, the same thing that we have in the iPad Pros. This is a very interesting thing that sort of came to me. The iPad Pro and the iMac that came out yesterday and this new Mac Mini with the M4 are very much the same guts. There's not a whole lot that's different about them, and therefore I don't know what that says about Apple, that all of their computers basically have the same guts. And so why is there no Mac OS on an iPad? Why is there no iPad OS on a Mac? I don't know. Is it anyway? Drives up to 3 displays, fastest CPU core ever. So we've got productivity, creativity, STEM, gaming, coding, Apple Intelligence. We'll write things now for you. I have another video coming out on Apple Intelligence and what I actually think about Apple Intelligence, and in some ways AI in general, but I'll save that for another video. If you want to see that video, hit the subscribe button, because I've got a lot of videos coming out about these new Apple products and Apple Intelligence in general, and some things I think about it from a societal standpoint. And if you want to know more about that, come back and see me. Very secure. Here we got Logic Pro with Sequoia, macOS Sequoia. You can now put your iPhone on your desktop, which is kind of cool, although I haven't found a use for that. I want to find the specs. Okay, so compared to the M1 Mac Mini from 2020, you get less than half the size of the previous design, higher bandwidth ports, faster wireless, 2 times faster graphics, 2.5 5 times faster performance. And then you can trade that thing in if you want to. So there's a lot to the new Mac Mini. Thunderbolt 5 kind of surprised me. The power of the chips kind of surprised me. Really, it put me in a quandary because I have been I got rid of my MacBook Pro, and my plan was to get a Mac Studio, and the Mac Studios aren't supposed to be refreshed until sometime next summer or late spring. So I was just going to get an M2 Max Mac Studio and bide my time. But along the way, I went through now and have priced the Mac Mini spec'd out the way that I would want it versus the Mac Studio spec'd out the way that I would want it. And something very interesting happened. So let's take a look at that. Here is the Mac Mini spec'd as I would want it to be. So it's got more cores, 64 gigabytes of memory, 2 terabytes of storage, 10 gigabit Ethernet, because eventually I'm going to upgrade to my router to be able to handle that. And the price, $28.99. Now, for reference, my M3 Max MacBook Pro with 36 gigabytes of memory and 1 terabyte of storage was $3,200, I believe. So these are the economies that I'm looking at. I didn't use my MacBook Pro really anywhere but at my desk. And that's kind of what always happens to me with laptops. So it seemed not really useful to have it stuck on the desk and to have that extra money. So I sold it, and here we are. Now I'm looking at what a Mac Mini would cost me. And what would I be losing? I'd be losing 1 Thunderbolt 4 port and 2 USB-A ports. And that's about it. But I'd be getting a faster... The M4 Pro chip is most likely in many ways faster than the M2 Max chip, because that's kind of the way this has been going. Once you get the new, so this is M4 instead of M3. Once you get to the Pro of the next model, it's as fast as the Max, if that makes any sense. So that's what we've got going on here. Now let's look quickly at customizing an M2 Max Mac Studio out to what I would want. And you'll see here that while I have the same cores of CPU, but not as fast as M4, I have 10 more GPU cores, but the same 16-core neural engine. Now, I could upgrade that, but that would put me up over $3,000, which is where I don't want to be for this machine. 64 gigabytes of memory and 2 terabytes of storage. And that gets me to the low price of $29.99 and 0 cents. And now here we are in Goldilocks land with Apple. Apple has made a computer in the Mac Mini M4 Pro that will likely outperform the M2 Max Studio. And so what would I be losing and what would I be gaining? Well, it's the Mac Mini is $100 cheaper if I spec it all the way out to this number. And the Mac Studio, while it's $100 more expensive, has the extra ports and the USB, plus it has the SD card reader. But honestly, I'm sitting here at my desk. I have 3 SD card readers in front of me. So I don't know that that really makes a huge difference. So tell me 2 things. What do you think of the new Mac Mini, the smaller but mightier Mac Mini? And should I order a Mac Mini spec'd out to where I would want it to be, or should I just go with the Mac Studio? And this, again, this is the anti-Goldilocks principle of Apple. Apple creates all these options, and they overlap quite a bit, but none of them are exactly just right, unless you spend all the money. If you spend all the money, you can get everything that you want, and then you don't have to worry. But if you want to economize in one place or the other, then you can't. It's hard to decide which one. You tell me. Let's talk down in the comments below. If you want to see another video about my struggles with Apple, there'll be a video popping up over here. If you want to hit that subscribe button, come back and see me for future videos. That would be awesome. Like the video. Tell your friends to come and check me out. I'll be back very soon with another video about Apple related stuff. My name's Jason. Until the next time, I'm out.